What's up, Jags fans? It's your boy UCF Jaguar, and some interesting bits of news related to the Jaguars has broken in the last couple days. So let's get right into it. So my favorite piece of news that came out of today was the fact that we signed Avery Jones to a 4-year, $16 million deal. Avery Jones is a guy that we quietly signed in 2013 college free agency, and ever since then he's been one of the most underrated players on the Jaguars. Looking back on that 2013 rookie class, he was actually the best player that even came out of that period, mainly because only Joko and Cyprian actually lived out their rookie contracts. But nevertheless, ever since he's been on this team, he's gotten gradually better every year. And then this year, after Roy Miller got injured after week 6, he stepped in, did a fantastic job. And that was actually a position I was a little worried about because Roy Miller was great against the run. I thought our run was going to suffer greatly without him. But Avery Jones came in there, and he literally outplayed himself, and he might have cost Roy Miller his job. So with that said, I'm really happy with this Avery Jones signing. So let's move on to this next guy, and that's Chad Henne. Now, the Jaguars didn't actually sign Chad Henne. They actually just restructured his deal. But, I was a little kind of puzzled by this at first. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to be on the roster next year. I really think it's going to be, like I said in an earlier video, I think it's going to be Bortles, Brandon Allen, and some kind of rookie. But after I was a little bit puzzled, I started to kind of think that maybe they did this restructuring to kind of help the cap situation. So if they were to cut him, they'd take less of a cap hit. And if Chad Henne is somehow on the roster next year, I better not ever see him play. We already know what he can do. He's a bad quarterback. I don't know why play him. I want to see what these other guys can do so we kind of get some kind of evaluation on them to kind of know what we got going into next year's draft in case we need a guy. So just please don't play him. So with that said, boo Chad Henne. Now let's go on to the next bit of news, and that's the fact that the Jaguars decided not to pick up Kelvin Beachum's option. So this Kelvin Beachum news did kind of surprise me. I mean, he didn't have the best year last year, but he was just coming off an ACL tear, and I thought he was actually pretty good in pass protection, but he wasn't very good in run blocking. And you hear a lot of former offensive linemen and defensive linemen that basically say that coming off an ACL tear is very difficult when you're playing a position like that. That's really requiring you to power yourself through somebody. And that kind of led to some deficiency in his run blocking skills. But even though he wasn't the best run blocker, I really thought we were going to re-sign him just because we're in a situation we're pretty bad at offensive line. I mean, this year I was pretty much going to pencil in Brandon Leonard to start at center and then Beachum to start at left tackle. But, if we're not going to re-sign this guy, then we got some even bigger holes going into our offensive line going into next year. Now, just because they didn't pick up his option does not mean he's not going to be on the Jaguars next year. It's just weird because this deal is extremely team friendly, but maybe they feel like they can get him a little cheaper during free agency since he didn't have a great year last year. But, I guess we'll see what they decide to do in free agency in a couple weeks. And then the last bit of news that came out about the team today was the fact that they're going to re-sign Aurelius Ben. Now, this is one that kind of frustrates Jag fans, and it's not because of the fact that they re-signed Ben, but it's the fact that Brian Walters, who's a fan favorite, did not get any kind of new deal yet. Now, Aurelius Ben is a guy that has so much potential. He's a big, tall, fast guy, but he's just always played his whole kind of career on the injury list. This year he kind of had a little mini breakout year, but it wasn't really anything too special, but he actually was able to kind of keep healthy. But I'm honestly not really too worried about this signing. I think people are kind of making a bigger deal of it than it really is. They're just kind of probably going to sign him to a little mini deal, a deal that will not really cost them much if they do wind up cutting him during training camp. But I do think Walters will eventually get a deal. I think him and Aurelius Ben will fight with whatever other competition comes in for the 5th and 6th wide receiver spots. But with that said, I think that's about all the news for the day. Some kind of weird, questionable kind of things went on, but, we'll see what kind of comes out in the next few days. So thanks for watching my video. Peace!